I've been fucking hella hoes, but none of them you for real. CMB gang stand the fuck up. Clone gang stand the fuck up. Today, we grade NBA teams off seasons. Now, the off season is not complete. Two names I know still out there: Cam Thomas and Quentin Grimes. Other than that, there are probably a bunch of nobodies. Gotta take a sip of my water. I wasn't ready for that high level intro I just did. Anyways, today we will grade NBA off seasons. Let's get into it. First team is the Thunder. You lost nothing. You signed nothing. You drafted Thomas Sorber. I'm giving you an A. You may be thinking to yourself, they did nothing. Why are you giving them an A? Because you're bringing back a team who already just won a championship and was challenged 2 times in the four series they played. You were only challenged twice. You steamrolled the Grizzlies. You steamrolled the Timberwolves. You were challenged by the Nuggets. The Nuggets almost got you, niggas. And you probably would have lost if Tyrese didn't get hurt. But you're bringing back a team who was already young, didn't have experience, now just has a championship. Now they have experience and a championship. And you're bringing back the same roster. I like that. You didn't do anything. You didn't go out and make some crazy sign like, oh, let's get another star and let's really get these chips. No. You kept the same team. You're running it back. I love it. I got to give you an A. Cleveland Cavaliers. You lost Ty Jerome, but you signed Larry Nance, traded Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball, brought back Sam Merrill, and drafted Tyrese Proctor. I'm going to give you a B-. We all knew that you guys were going to lose Ty Jerome, so you guys are addressing that pretty early with the Isaac Okoro trade for Lonzo. Now you have another backup guard. Was a good move. Larry Nance or whatever signing, brought back Sam Merrill. I dead ass don't even know what that nigga looks like. So shout out to Sam Merrill. B-. Nothing crazy. Hopefully you guys can win in the playoffs now instead of just winning in the regular season. Houston Rockets. You traded Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green for KD. Then you traded Cam Whitmore for 2 seconds to really get under that second apron. You signed DFS. You signed Clint Capella. You signed Josh Okogie. Re-signed Fred VanVleet, Steven Adams, Aaron Holiday, Jabari Smith, and Jeff Green. A+. There's no doubt about it. The Rockets had an A+ offseason. You turned Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks into Kevin Durant, who's probably going to be your main scorer now once you get deeper into that playoffs. A lot of the problems the Rockets had last year is that when they got into those clutch situations, they didn't know who to give the ball to. Now you do. You give it to Kevin Durant. You also got a very solid backup big. You weren't sure if you were going to... I think you signed Clint Capella before Steven Adams or something like that. But you got Clint Capella now, and you got Steven Adams. I really like that a lot. There's 2 backup bigs that could really do something for you. And both of them are... Clint Capella's a solid starting center if on the off chance Alfred Sengun gets hurt. And DFS... I mean, shit, fuck the Lakers for not bringing this nigga back, but that's a good 3-and-D player to come off your bench. I really like what the Rockets did this offseason. Boston, Kristaps for Georges Niang was a trade. Drew Holiday for Anthony Simons was a trade. And then you lost Luke Cornett. C-. You really did this to get under that second apron because you were high into that second apron and you wanted to save money. So you had to trade these niggas. We knew it was going to happen eventually. We just thought we'd have at least one more year with the core. But with Jason Tatum going down this year, it was a good time to trade them. You also, I think, opened up a little bit of money to sign, like, not crazy. Like, you're not getting a 3rd star, but you can fill out this roster with solid role players next year once Jason Tatum is back. So I'm going to give it a C-. Just cool. None. Yeah. Lakers. My Lakers. We signed DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia. We did lose DFS. Re-signed Jackson Hayes and gave that nigga a no-trade clause for some reason. And we drafted a dude Thero. I'm going to give it a C. Obviously, we addressed the concern that we had. We needed a center. We got a center. Now, is DeAndre Ayton the center of this team for the future? Fuck no. This morning when I woke up, I did his PowerPoint last night. This morning when I woke up, Luka signed that max extension. So Luka is a Laker for a while, unless we make some dumbass trade. Luka is a Laker, which means they've built the rest of this roster to have 2-year deals. Now, the offseason coming up next year, we're just going to sign niggas. And I like it because we can really build that team around Luka. Obviously, my GOAT, my king, my glorious everything, the nigga I look up to be, LeBron will be gone. But we've set up the team for a good position of the future and kind of like said, fuck winning this year. Which, I mean, it hurts when you have Bron on the team, but it's for the best of the team in the future. Will I stay a Lakers fan when Bron retires? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. I might. I don't know. New York Knicks. You signed Jordan Clarkson and Yabusele. You re-signed Mikal Bridges to an extension. Got to give it an A. I feel like a lot of the problems with the Knicks last year was they really relied on that core six, the starting five, and Deuce. If it wasn't one of those six, and barely even Deuce, honestly. If it wasn't that, they weren't really hooping like that. You just got deeper. Now you can go to a Deuce, you can go to a Jordan Clarkson, a Yabusele, Mitchell Robinson. You can really run a 9-man rotation, which Thibs wasn't doing. So it was less about the signings and more about the coaching. The coaching change from Thibs to Mike Brown, which I really like a lot. Give him an A. Denver Nuggets. I ain't gonna lie, probably my second favorite offseason of this year. It scares me a lot. You signed Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway. You traded MPJ for Cam Johnson. Somehow you traded Dario Saric for Jonas Valanciunas. I don't know why the fuck the Kings would do that, but you did it. A+. This was an amazing offseason. You got a backup big, better than DeAndre Jordan. Now, honestly, you're probably not going to go to Valanciunas much, but you do have him there just in case. MPJ for Cam Johnson, love that trade for y'all as a team because now you have a defender. MPJ wasn't really a defender. MPJ is a little bit of a better shooter than Cam Johnson is, but when Cam Johnson is a little bit less of a shooter but plays defense, you take that trade every day. Bruce Brown, hopefully he can get back to what he was with y'all. He's been shit since he left. And Tim Hardaway, he was good for the Pistons last year. I really like this team to come out the West this year. I can't even lie. Indiana Pacers. You lost Miles Turner. Traded for Jay Huff. Re-signed Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman. You drafted Cam Jones. D. You lost your starting center when nobody really thought you guys were going to lose him. I certainly didn't. After y'all went to the finals, I'm like, okay, Miles Turner's a Pacer for life. He left. I was surprised. Cam Jones was a good draft because you could really throw him out there this year since Tyrese is hurt and just see what he has to offer for you. But yeah, your starting center is going to be one of these three niggas or Tony Bradley. I don't like that for you guys. Give me y'all a D. LA Clippers. You signed Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, Brook Lopez. You traded Norman Powell for John Collins. Re-signed Nick Batum and James Harden. B+. Not a bad offseason. If this was like 2016, nigga, this is A+, nigga. This is an amazing offseason. But a lot of these players are a little bit older. Bradley Beal, the thing about Bradley Beal was never bad. 17 points per game is good. But it's just he's making $50 million, which made it bad. So I really like this Bradley Beal signing. John Collins gives you a little bit more depth when you really didn't need Norman Powell anymore. You didn't really know what he was going to turn into now that everyone is healthy. Chris Paul, he's probably not going to play much. It's the retirement. The farewell tour. Brook Lopez as a backup center, I really like. Backing up Ivica Zubac, I like that a lot. Giving him B+. Bucks, you signed Miles Turner, Gary Harris, and Cole Anthony. You did lose Brook Lopez. Pat Connaughton wasn't spelling that nigga's full name. That shit's long as fuck. And you lost Dame. You re-signed Taurean Prince, Gary Trent Jr., and Bobby Portis D+. Mainly because I seen the meme where it's like cover up Giannis's face and look at the rest of the roster. What does it look like, nigga? It looks horrible. I'm not gonna lie. Giannis is gonna carry the fuck out this team. I do like the Miles Turner signing. Replacing Brook Lopez with Miles Turner would be good if Dame was still healthy. Like Dame being healthy and then y'all just saying fuck it, nigga, fuck you, and cutting that nigga really ruined everything. Do I think Miles Turner and Giannis are about to make a playoff push? Fuck no. But it wasn't a bad signing. It's just I don't like a lot of the role players you picked up. D+. T-Wolves, you signed, you lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luka Garza. Re-signed Joe Ingles, Julius Randle, and Naz Reid. Drafted Joan Berringer. Got to give you a C. You didn't really do anything. You just lost Nah, which, I think a lot of people knew you guys were going to lose him, but actually seeing it happen and not really replacing him with anything crazy is definitely concerning. You're really expecting a big jump from Terrence Shannon Jr. and Rob Dillingham because Mike Conley's old as shit now, and you're going to need that Rob Dillingham jump soon. Give me y'all a C. Pistons, you lost Simone Fettuccini. You traded him for Duncan Robinson. You also lost Tim Hardaway to the Nuggets, Dennis Schroeder to the Kings. You signed Karis LeVert, and you lost Malik Beasley to the bullshit, to gambling, because he's a gambling addict. I'm giving y'all a C-. It definitely hurts losing Malik Beasley because he was very good for y'all. At times, probably our third best player last year. And you lose him for nothing, too. He didn't walk. He just got caught up with the league, where he probably would have been back on this team. You did replace Tim Hardaway with Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert is more of a put the ball on the floor type of shooter than Tim Hardaway, who's off the catch. I do like the Simone Fettuccini trade, Duncan Robinson. I feel like that's a good shooter. Is he going to make 300 threes like Malik Beasley? No. But he could provide some shooting. And I really like Dennis Schroeder's role with this team. It hurts. It definitely hurts to lose him. So I'm going to give y'all a C-. Hopefully y'all can be as good as y'all were last year, because if not, y'all niggas might be getting a top 5 pick. Warriors, F. You drafted Alex Tooney and Will Richard, deadass. I'm so serious. Before I started making this PowerPoint, never even heard of them niggas. You lost Kevon Looney. You didn't do anything. You didn't do a single thing. F. This is horrible. Especially when a team like the Spurs got better, Mavericks got better. Those are two teams that could easily take your spot in that playoffs, Warriors. You were already barely in. F. Now, Jimmy this isn't a fucking prediction video, but F. Offseason, F. All right. Magic. Traded KCP and Cole Anthony for Desmond Bane. You signed Tyus Jones. You lost Gary Harris. Re-signed Paolo and Franz. And you drafted Jace Richardson, A-. I really like that KCP trade for Desmond Bane. I know you gave up a lot of first-round picks, but Desmond Bane is going to provide a lot of spacing where KCP couldn't. I also like you basically trading Cole Anthony for Tyus Jones. Like, you got it better as your backup point guard. Re-signed Paolo and Franz to MAC extensions, which obviously you had to do. You did lose Gary Harris, but I don't think that's anything crazy. Drafting Jace Richardson, I really liked him going to y'all at that pick. A-. The Grizzlies signed Ty Jerome and Jacques Landale. Traded Desmond Bane for KCP and Cole Anthony. Then you waived Cole Anthony. You lost Luke Kennard. Re-signed JJJ and Santi Aldama. When a lot of people didn't think y'all were getting Santi Aldama back, that was a good re-sign. And you drafted Cedric Coward. I'm going to give y'all a C. Now, you may be wondering why is the Grizzlies a C? They didn't really do anything. They're setting themselves up for a future rebuild. They got those picks from the Magic. And they're just setting themselves up good for if they wanted to just clean sweep, we got to get rid of Ja, we got to get rid of JJJ. They set themselves up in a good position to do so. That's why I'm giving them a C. Heat. You traded Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love for Norman Powell, and then Duncan Robinson for Simone Fettuccini. Re-signed Davion Mitchell, and you drafted Kasper Jacques. I'm giving y'all a C-. It's a lot. I'm not happy with the Heat's offseason a lot of times because you're always one of those teams where like, oh, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, and you never end up doing it. Your offseason ends up being Norman Powell. So I'm kind of getting sick of the Heat. This is going to be another, if they even make the play-in. I like a lot of other teams to make the play-in right now other than them. If they even make the play-in, didn't really like that offseason, C-. Mavericks. You drafted Cooper Flagg, signed D'Lo, re-signed Kyrie and Dante Exum, and you lost Spencer Dinkelberg. Got to give you a B. That B is heavily carried by you drafted Cooper Flagg, who arguably could be a top 10 player in a couple of years. Give him like 5 to 6 years, he could be a top 10 player in this league, maybe even top 5. So I just got to give you a B on that because you drafted the best player in the draft. He probably would have, went B. He definitely would have went 1 last year. He went 1 this year. He would have went 1 in the upcoming draft. And the draft after that, gotta give him a B. Hawks. Probably my favorite, if not the Nuggets, then the Hawks are my favorite offseason. Signed Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard. Traded Terrence Mann and Georges Niang for Kristaps. Lost Clint Capella, Karis LeVert, and Larry Nance. You drafted Asa Newell. And getting Asa Newell, you got an unprotected Pelicans pick, and the Pelicans look like some ass. Pelicans, what were you thinking doing that trade? Unprotected pick? I hope that pick turns into AJ DeMonsa or Darian Peterson. I'm giving them an A. If they would have got a B minus off the fucking strength of getting that Pelicans pick alone, you're telling me they still brought in Nah, who's a good 3-and-D wing, still brought in Luke Kennard, who's a good shooter, and has got themselves a better big who, if he's not healthy, you could still have Onyeka Okongwu step up into that starting spot. Love that offseason for them. Took the Hawks from maybe a play-in team to, if you told me that Hawks are going to come out the East, I wouldn't be mad at you. A. Kings, D minus. You signed Dennis Schroeder and Drew Eubanks, traded Jonas Valanciunas for Dario Saric, re-signed Doug McDermott, lost Jake LaRavia, you drafted Nick Clifford, D minus. Dennis Schroeder, Nick Clifford, that's what you got for me. Thanks, Kings. Get the fuck out of my face, you stupid fucks. Bulls, D. Only thing I liked you niggas did was drafting. I didn't even like you drafting Noah Asenge. I would have rather you drafted like fucking. I think Derek Queen was still on the board. I would have rather you drafted Derek Queen. I'm not high on Noah Asenge at all. You traded Lonzo for Isaac Okoro. Lonzo played maybe 15 games for you niggas. Good job. You still haven't even signed. You haven't re-signed Josh Giddey yet. So you're probably gonna give Josh Giddey $30 million. Good luck to you, D. Shout out to Kenya the fourth quarter. He even knows this team is fucked. Suns, you traded KD for Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, and I deadass don't know what the fuck they traded for Mark Williams. I truly don't know. You signed a bunch of nobodies. It was bullshit. You waived Bradley Beal. I like that. You lost Tyus Jones and Mason Plumlee. Yeah. And then you drafted Kaman Maluach, Kobe Brea, who looked very good in Summer League, and Rasheer Fleming. Give y'all a C. You didn't have much leverage for that KD trade because you obviously knew that everyone knew that KD wanted out. And you didn't have any leverage at all for Bradley Beal because the nigga had a no-trade clause. So doing what you can with those, I like it. Kobe Barea, Kaman Maluach, Rasheer Fleming, love those picks for y'all. Y'all could be a 11 seed this year. Shout out to y'all. Raptors D, you re-signed Garrett Temple and Jakob Poeltl. I didn't even know Garrett Temple was still in the league, on God. Drafted CMB, who by draft John didn't even look like he want to be there. Didn't even see a highlight from him on Summer League. Going back to Noah Asenge, he got dunked on by a white man. Had to add that in. Can't forget that. Raptors D. Blazers, giving y'all a C. You drafted possibly no racial when I say this, but you possibly drafted Yao Ming. You traded Anthony Simons for Drew Holiday, signed Dame and Blake Wesley, you waived DeAndre Ayton. Giving y'all a C, mostly because y'all just brought back Dame, and I love that y'all brought him back home. It really just shows that Dame's a fucking loser, nigga. You tried to dip out and go win a ring. Grass ain't greener on that side. Come back home, nigga. Love it. I hope he gets well, though, because the league is better when Damian Lillard is healthy. Nets, D. Hate this offseason. And it's mostly because of the draft. They drafted Ben Saraf, Nolan Traore, Yegor Denham, Drake Powell, and Danny Wolf. Nolan Traore and Yegor Denham are both point guards. Ben Saraf and Drake Powell are both shooting guards. What the fuck are we doing? Not we. I have no association to this team. What the fuck are you niggas doing? This was a horrible draft. How do you have 5 first-round picks and you fumble, I would say, 4 of them? The only pick I like is Nolan Traore, but I'm high on Nolan Traore when a lot of people aren't. You lost D'Lo and Trendon Watford. You traded Cam Johnson for MPJ. Is that going to be your savior? No, he's not. D. Spurs drafted Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant. You signed Luke Cornett. You traded Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham for Kelly Olynyk, and you lost CP3. Gotta give you a B. I think Spurs are gonna be good this year. I've seen a lot of people say the Spurs are gonna be like in that play-in. I don't know. I have the Spurs comfortably out of the play-in. I got them at like 5, just like going off the top of my head from what I know. I got the Spurs at like 5. I think they're the team. Every year a team makes a big jump. I think it's the Spurs this year, and I really think that's reflected in their offseason. I like it. 76ers drafted VJ and Janai Broom. Re-signed Justin Edwards, Eric Gordon, Kyle Lowry. Lost Gershon Yabusele. Signed Trendon Watford. B-. It was never about the team itself. It's more about the health. Can Paul George stay healthy? Can Joel Embiid stay healthy? I do like VJ a lot on this team. I hate that I have to hate on him now because he's going to Philly, but I love VJ as a prospect. Shout out to VJ, but I gotta hate on you now. It's no hard feelings, bro. You're just going to a team I hate. It's never personal. B- though. Good offseason. Pelicans. You traded CJ and Kelly Olynyk for Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey. Signed Kevon Looney. Lost Bruce Brown. Didn't even know he was with you niggas. And Derek Queen. You drafted him. You moved up to trade Derek Queen. Traded your first unprotected this year. Stupid. I should have given you a D, but I gave you a C-. And that's mostly reflected in that trading of that pick. If it wasn't for that, maybe you niggas would have got a C+. C-. Stupidest fucking trade you niggas could have made. Hornets. You traded Yusuf Nurkic for Colin Sexton. Re-signed Trey Mann. Signed Spencer Dinklebird. Pat Connaughton. Again, his name's long as shit. I wasn't spelling that. Mason Plumlee. And you drafted Con Canule and Liam McNeely, the white boys, to save Charlotte. Gotta give them a C+. You brought in veterans to make your young players better. You probably could contend for a playing spot this year. Wishing nothing but the best. Utah Jazz drafted Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton, two motherfuckers who look like they don't want to be there. Traded John Collins for Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson, and then you traded Colin Sexton for Yusuf Nurkic. You waived Johnny Juzang, which hurt. I really like Johnny Juzang with you guys. And Jordan Clarkson, giving y'all a D. I didn't know how to fucking rank the Jazz. It's the fucking Jazz. Nothing they do is going to be like, oh my God, the Jazz, they had a good offseason. But nothing they do is going to be like, oh my God, what the fuck are the Jazz doing? You know what I mean? So I just gave y'all a D. I just threw a letter out there. And finally, the Washington Wizards. You traded Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey for CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk. Then you traded Kelly Olynyk for Malachi Branham. 2 seconds you traded for Cam Whitmore. You waived Marcus Smart, drafted Trey Johnson and Will Riley, B-. I like that you picked up some veterans in that locker room with Marcus. You cut Marcus Smart, but you picked up a veteran in that locker room with C.J. McCollum, and you also have Chris Middleton. Drafted Trey Johnson, who I really like. I liked him 3 to the Sixers. And Will Riley, who I wasn't really sure on. Like, I didn't really know what to think of Will Riley this year. He was good at the beginning of the college season, then kind of fell off. Giving y'all a B-. I think y'all are making strides to progress for the future. And this year, you're probably going to pick up a Cameron Boozer. So, I think you guys will be fine. Anyways, that's my off-season grades. Let me know what you agreed with. Let me know what you disagreed with. I'm out this bitch. Deuces.
Call up gang, I'm back in the jig. Hold on, gotta move tech. Shit get tricky.